What's up, Red Nation? Liam Garcia here, and if you, like me, could barely sleep after the absolute chaos we witnessed in Philadelphia, then you are in the right place. Before I drop these bombshells today, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, because we need to stick together now more than ever. The NBA's official report just dropped, and it confirmed the unthinkable regarding last night's officiating. But hold on to your seats, because the real nightmare wasn't the whistle. There is a structural failure, a sickness in our offense, involving our biggest idol that could cost us the entire season. You know that bitter feeling that the game was decided by a coin flip rather than on the court? Well, the NBA's last 2-minute report is out, and honestly, it turns our overtime loss last night against the Philadelphia 76ers into a complete circus. The crew chief, John Goebel, had the courage or the audacity to publicly admit that the officiating crew botched a crucial call at the end of the fourth quarter. We're talking about that Tyrese Maxey drive in the final seconds, where our guy Kevin Durant went up for the block. In the moment, play continued, we went to overtime and lost 128-122. But now, with a cool head and the report in hand, the story takes on a level of incompetence that leaves any Rockets fan fuming. Goebel confirmed to reporters that the play should have been ruled goaltending. According to him, in real time, the crew felt it was a clean block. But the admission of guilt comes with a technical explanation that borders on ridiculous and exposes the fragility of the current system. There was an inadvertent whistle. Yes, an accidental whistle, because the refs got confused with Ime Udoka trying to call a timeout we didn't have. The result? A generalized mess where they admitted they missed the floor call, but because of their own bureaucratic rule and the erroneous whistle, their hands were tied and they couldn't review the play on the monitor. Do you guys realize the gravity of this? The referee admits, yes, we messed up, we should have made the call. But because they didn't make it in real time, the rulebook prevents the correction. The game went to overtime based on an admitted technical error. Sure, Sixers fans will say they should have won in regulation if the goaltend was called, but for us, it's a question of integrity. The game spiraled out of control. When officiating admits they blew a whistle because they got confused by the coach and couldn't review a play that defines the score due to technicalities, the sense of injustice takes over. We fought. We dragged the game into overtime with pure grit, but we entered those extra 5 minutes knowing the game management was broken. Nick Nurse, their coach, complains saying that if it's close, they have to call it so they can review it. And he's not wrong. The problem is that this hesitation by the officials put the Rockets in a do-or-die situation in overtime against a team that had an inspired Joel Embiid, 32 points and 15 rebounds, and a Maxey on fire. We had to swallow the frustration and play 5 more minutes against a team with momentum and a lost officiating crew. And unfortunately, in overtime, the game punished us. But make no mistake, when the whistle becomes the protagonist, the spectacle dies. The NBA needs to explain how an inadvertent whistle dictates the rhythm of such an important game finish. And while we're still here trying to digest this administrative mess, and the fact that the league basically said, "Oops, my bad," after the result was already sealed, there is a much quieter, and I dare say, much more dangerous problem happening inside our own locker room. The officiating might be incompetent, but what the numbers are showing about our biggest star is enough to send shivers down your spine. It's very comfortable, and even therapeutic, to dump all the blame for the loss on Mr. John Goebel and his confused crew. But if we're being honest, and here on the channel, we deal with the cold, hard truth. The ref's mistake served as the perfect smokescreen to mask a much more serious and systemic issue. There is a silent disease eroding the Houston Rockets, and it has a first and last name: our toxic reliance on the individual genius of Kevin Durant. The headline nobody wants to read but needs to face is that KD's magic is no longer enough to hide our offensive inconsistencies. And the numbers from last night's game scream this in our faces. Kevin Durant is a legend. Nobody disputes that. At 37 years old, he continues flirting with absurd 50-40-90 shooting splits. Yesterday, he led the team with 36 points. Liam, but the guy put the team on his back. He did, but at what cost? He also committed 8 turnovers in the game. 8, including a crucial error in the final minute of regulation when we were up by 2. That specific turnover gave the Sixers the transition layup that tied the game and forced overtime. KD himself in the post-game interview was man enough to say, "I did a lot of BS tonight." He owned up to it, but the rabbit hole goes deeper. The problem isn't KD missing. It's Ime Udoka's system depending so much on him that when he falters, the team collapses. We are seeing a worrying side effect on the development of our young guys. The KD-centric offense has turned Jabari Smith Jr. into a glorified spectator on the perimeter. Yesterday, Jabari had a disastrous performance, hitting 1 of 10 from three-point range. Why? Because he lost his rhythm. The ball doesn't arrive with fluidity. Reed Shepherd, who was supposed to be the future of our playmaking, has seen his development thrown into the backseat. Even Alperen Sengun, our creative hub, has seen his metrics regress because the ball sticks in KD's hands and the offense turns into static isolation. We are reliving the ghost of the Phoenix Suns from recent seasons. A team that has the talent to beat anyone, but chokes in crunch time because there is no collective game. The data is terrifying. The Rockets now have a record of 10 wins and 13 losses in clutch games, those decided in the last 5 minutes. We are the 7th worst team in the league at closing out tight games. In overtime, a pathetic 1-5. We are lions at the Toyota Center, with 15 wins and 3 losses, but we turn into scared kittens on the road, with 11 wins and 13 losses. Ime Udoka said it's hard to explain some plays down the stretch. But it's not hard, Ime. It's predictable. The opponent knows the ball is going to KD. They double team, force the mistake, and the rest of the team, cold and lacking confidence, can't make a decision. This brings up the dreaded Patrick Ewing theory. Is the team statistically better without the superstar centralizing everything? I'm not saying that cut KD. Far from it. He raises our floor absurdly. But at 37, if he continues to be the only safety valve, he will also cap our ceiling. Yesterday's game proved that depending on heroism doesn't sustain a playoff run. The ref messed up, yes, but we fumbled the bag long before the final whistle. And if you think that analysis was harsh, just wait until I ask you what comes next. The situation is explosive. On one hand, we were robbed, and the NBA admitted the mistake to our faces. That is revolting. But are we using this dirty whistle to ignore that our offense has become a predictable mess dependent on Kevin Durant? The painful question remains. Was the real problem the robbery by the ref, or our inability to play collectively when it matters most? Has Ime Udoka lost his touch, or does the roster need an urgent trade? Comment below. Is it the whistle's fault, or the man in the mirror? I want to read everything. Smash that like button, and until next time, Red Nation.